Hi, Matt.
Hi, Kurt. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you? And where are you?
Doing great. I'm in North Carolina, just back here on a break in between training camps. We've got another training camp on the 3rd in Scottsdale, Arizona coming up. And yeah, just taking a little downtime. I get to fly a little bit with the Golden Knights last Friday doing some 8-way, and I was actually in inside front slot. So it was a different slot than what I'm used to, and it was a lot of fun. We were laying a technical foundation. Nick Hemlin is there coaching with them right now, and they're focusing primarily on 4-way, but decided to change it up a little bit and get some 8-way. And it was a fun session.
Great. So let me be official here a little bit because we were kind of informal, but welcome to another NSL live talk anyway to the audience, and we have a special treat here today. It's only one person here this time, but we will squeeze out of Matt Davidson everything that we can get, and on top of that, we have some eye candy again because very fortunately and gratefully, I got the permission from Airspeed XP8 to show some of the training videos, Matt. So we're going to look at this in a little while because this was a very special training camp for you, right? It was your outdoor camp.
Yes, it was. It was my second training camp back outdoors. And yeah, it was a great one. We had some great weather out there. It was a little cold for the first few jumps, but after that, it warmed up. And we managed to get an average of 7 jumps a day for, or, I'm sorry, 10 jumps a day for 7 days for a total of 70 jumps for that camp.
Not too shabby.
Yeah.
Before we go deeper into this, um, you were also flying. I mean, with the Golden, you were with the SB8, obviously, in Arizona, and then you came back, and you were also flying with a very young flyer there. I saw you sent me a video there of your daughter flying in the tunnel.
Yeah, we've been getting her in there for youth league, and she's doing a great job. It's been a process. At first when she was a very little girl, she didn't want to even step foot in the tunnel. She thought it was too loud and scary. So we just forced
Same
her and
here.
just, oh yeah, we just kind of let her, go at her own pace, and now she's very interested and comfortable in it, and yeah, she's doing a great job. Before too long, she's going to be a lot better than I am. She isn't saying much.
How old is she?
She's 8 years old, about to turn 9 on March 1st.
I would love to somehow get this video into our conversation or into a. Could I do that? I mean, it's not much of it's like 30 seconds or so. Could I show this when you were not in the tunnel? There was an instructor, right?
Yeah, yeah. There's an instructor, and yeah, we can probably manage that. I'll just have to I don't know, either text it to you or something. I don't have it on my computer. I've got it. We'll have to work out those kind of technological issues, and that can be a challenge for me sometimes. So we'll see if it works.
Then I have it already anyway. It's downloaded, so
Okay.
on my phone, so I can somehow get it from the phone into this scenario somehow. I'll
Oh,
leave,
perfect.
I'll do that. You don't have to deal with that. Well, that is wonderful. Did she is a new generation of indoor cloud league participants, I'm hoping. So very soon she'll do the R class sequence there probably, with Morgan and Gina running this anyway, I
Yeah,
guess.
that'd be great. Yeah, we're
Yes.
trying to incentivize her by saying, hey, once we can start getting some time to where you can fly with Jen and I, and we can get somebody else in there as well. If you can kind of graduate to that point. So I think now she seems motivated about it. So we think that'd be a lot of fun.
I'm very light. I'm volunteer for the 4th slot.
All right, we'll definitely keep you in mind. Call you up when we have tryouts.
I'm almost your teammate anyway. If we almost jumped together, almost when I.
That's true. Yeah.
Other big things are going on. Your teammate Kirk Werner was on the computer probably very much, or is still probably very much online as an ISC FAI delegate. That is happening this week. And it will somehow have an impact on your events too. Obviously, you know, the schedule of the World Meets, World Cups in the coming years, indoor, outdoor, will be decided this week. Did Kirk, did you discuss this kind of stuff at all? Oh,
So I'm out here in
one
the
second,
country.
please. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I think there's something running here so that we don't want to. Um, we are already at that is a jumps that we're gonna watch later. Hang on, Matt, for a second. I have to get
Okay.
this stopped somehow. Yeah, okay. Well, eventually I got it at least to pause, Matt. So
Yeah,
let's
no
see.
worries. I'm going to switch over internet to my phone. I'm having some issues with.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
we are good. I
So
can hear you. It's all good. It was just the YouTube video turned on that we wanted to look at later. So I don't know why it happened, but we're all good. If it's okay with
okay.
you, we're fine.
Yeah, sounds good.
So that was all. It's all going on this week. The schedule for you know, the coming years will be decided upon. Indoor, outdoor World Cups, World Meets. Did you discuss it with the team too? What, you know, Kirk is the delegate. He has to bring his voice in for the decision making in the committees and in the plenary.
I haven't had a detailed discussion with you. I think he'd be the guy to talk to for all those kind of details. He did share with us that the World Championships in Russia was going to be on, and you know, we're definitely looking forward to that and training for that. And above and beyond that, he didn't go very far into detail, and I didn't ask. I think he found some of that stuff out after our last training camp was over, so he just texted us to the group to let us know.
Well, that's the biggest, what you just mentioned, that the World Meet this year will take place, as it seems. That has to be approved by the plenary at the end of the meeting. But it seems to be everything will move forward to go to Russia this year.
Yeah, it's great news. Great news for the sport. And yeah, like I said, we're really looking forward to it and training hard.
Yeah. And this will give you the opportunity finally, with no cancellation and everything, to complete your golden decade, right? Decade of golden excellence.
I hope so.
So at your fifth gold medal, was it consecutive? Yes, fifth consecutive gold medal in 8-way.
Yes, that'll be the fifth consecutive, if that happens. Yeah.
And then here you are trying to make your way back into the 8-way team. And you know, you don't have to make it back. There's no competition. You are back. But how difficult was it? You know, you prepared yourself probably like nobody else on the planet would do it, physically, mentally, everything, you know, indoor preparations. And then came the real thing this week last week in Eloy. How did it go?
It's been very difficult. It's been a lot more difficult pain-wise as far as physical pain goes. And it's been much more of a mental challenge to overcome that physical pain. The first camp that we did in December, I was about 5 months post-surgery for that one, and I think we made 62 jumps in 6 days. And yeah, it was a bit of an awakening for me. I remember at one point late in the camp, I kind of, you know, the pain was so intense, I kind of crossed this mental threshold where everything went from completely painful to quiet, kind of a quiet hum or swoosh is kind of what I experienced. And but I think it was really good for me mentally. It's adding another challenge for me this year, to see if I can actually do this and push past this and overcome this, you know, this hip replacement surgery that I had. But yeah, so I was in pretty bad pain for about a week after that training camp there, and then things started getting a lot better. So I was going into that helped mentally prepare me for the next camp that we did. And, we made a few more jumps for that camp, and it was a lot better for that one. It was still, I'm still in a lot of pain and still playing those mental head games. So when I get into that situation, sometimes like, oh man, my body's hurting, those negative thoughts creep in. Like, I don't know if I can keep doing this. And then constantly had to play those head games and, have that positive self-talk to get myself back in the mode. So from that aspect, it's added another layer of challenge to the training, which is, I don't mind, it keeps things interesting and it adds another element to, my whole journey of competition experience over the years. And it's one that is going to be extremely challenging, but, I'm up for it.
So I don't, I don't know what I missed there, but you're saying those were 2 outdoor camps in the meantime that you did already with the 8-way?
Yes, we did one in December and one in January.
Oh, so the real comeback was in December already in 8-way in Eloy.
Right. Yeah.
This was the second one. So the first one was extremely painful, and and then a little warning or whatever. Then you prepared yourself really well for the second one, which was last week.
Yes. Yeah, we got back last week.
And that paid out.
It did. It seems to just, I don't know if the work is paying out. I assume that it is, but it's also that, I think the more time that I get to separate from the actual surgery, the more my body is recovering. And, but yeah, that first camp was a wake up call. My body was like, all right, this is the house we're living in now. We gotta adapt, but, so the second one was better.
And that is after all the push-ups with Jennifer, and I mean you're probably fit like no other skydiver on the planet. So
I appreciate that. I'm not so sure that's true, but I appreciate the compliment. It's I think you can do all of those things to help prepare and help strengthen, but nothing's going to test your body, in the specific way that competition skydiving, formation skydiving is. With for me, one of the big differences on this team is that the fall rate's a lot faster, and I'm in one of the center slots. So, I really, really have to arch, and I've got a lot of lead on as well. So that's a bit of a difference, so that adds another, if your muscles are always contracted, it's going to add just another layer of something that your body is going to have to adapt to if you haven't done it in a while.
So do you think it's the actual muscle or the additional weight with the gear, or is it a harness? I mean, the harness pretty much sits where your surgery was, kind of in that area. Is it more like the opening maybe, or the parachute flight, rather than, because it seems to be difficult to imagine that the tunnel air is different than the free fall air. So there must be another factor in the in the game that causes the pain, the difficulty.
Sorry, Jen's home.
Hi, Jen.
She yeah, so I think it's a combination of all of those things. And with the jumping, I think the jumping is a little more stressful on the body, just because you've got the opening shock, just like you said, and wearing the gear, the exits and the tension that you get on the exits, sometimes can yank and pull. And it wasn't, I had some pain in the new hip, but what I was experiencing was actually more pain in my opposite knee and hip. It started to swell up quite a bit, and I had some compensation injuries there. When I did that first camp, I made a huge mistake of not really warming up sufficiently in the mornings. But in the second camp, I was doing, at least a 15-minute to a 30-minute warm up with bands and stretching and light calisthenic exercises. And I'm thinking, because of the way that I was able to adapt to that second camp, that it did a lot of good.
So stretching, warming up do you think was the main factor, or did you do some other additional preparations compared to what
I don't think it was a main factor. Oh yeah. Well, I don't think it was a main factor, but it was definitely a contributing factor. I think one of the biggest factors that I'm just getting more time from the actual surgery itself. So my body's just repairing and healing. And I think, you know, there is a specific adaptation to the imposed demands of formation skydiving. So I think after that first camp, for not having done it in 6 months or so, to, you know, the second camp, my body, you know, was able to adapt after that first camp a little better. And hopefully it's going to be even better going into the third camp in February.
Wow. So looking back now, you didn't expect that apparently.
No, I thought I was going to be able to step right back into it and, you know, it'd be like I never left, but definitely wasn't added another element to it. But I think at the end of this, if I'm able to integrate back into the team successfully and we're able to accomplish our ultimate goal of winning the world championships, then it'll all have been worth it.
How is it? So actually, I thought, I don't know how I missed that, but I missed the December camp. Hi, Jen. How are you?
I don't know if she can hear you. She's got the earpod in, but yeah.
I don't know the December camp. I don't think I have to check it out now if there were any videos, but probably not, because usually, you know, you're very open. I mean, the team is very open on showing what you're doing and how it is going. But after you did the NSL Cloud Mondial rounds, that was with Drew. And then in December, I don't think we had anything. So the first videos that I saw now, I thought this is actually the, you know, the real comeback for you, but that was already earlier.
It was, yeah. Yeah, December camp was the first one, and we've actually made a lot of improvements from the first camp to the second. You know, we're just coming together more as a team through the social dynamic as well as the actual, you know, skydiving itself.
Was it in when you came back, Drew, when he filled in, he was in the point slot, right?
I'm not sure what slot he was in actually. I think so.
Yeah, because if I look at the video, I mean the exit video.
Oh, you're talking about Andrew Happick. Yes, he was in point slot, and Nick went into
So
Nick went into my slot.
Yeah, so Nicholas has switched to the point slot now then, is that right?
He has, yep, and he's says, and he's flying like the experience in his B slot, you know, was very beneficial for him in his progression, and it's it definitely showed we're skydiving.
So is that the same slot now that you had with the Golden Knights?
It is.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering when I saw Nick, you know, first I thought you were taking Drew Happick's slot, you know, when you would come back, and then I thought, no, that's not Matt. They're in the point slot. So let's just look at some of the videos now. Let's see if I can find them quickly here now. Not this one. So it's we heard them already earlier, but it went away. So I'm gonna try to find them back in I'm gonna stop the share here for a moment, Matt, and you can maybe explain what you did in the during the camp already, the latest camp. I know there were like seven days that you were, was it 7 days that you were practicing actually?
It was 7 days. We did 7 days straight on this last camp.
And here it is again. Okay, so here's the 8-way. Finally, now we're seeing 8-way. So let me bring this back here now, so everybody can watch it actually, not only us. There we go. Share this one, and there's airspeed XP8, and I believe that this is the beginning of the training camp, the first day in January. So yes, let's go back here to look at the first one. And so this, of the videos that you had for this camp, I took the first day and the last day because I thought the first one was really your real comeback, and the last one was, when was the conclusion of the training camp. But this is, if I have this correctly, this is airspeed XP8 on the first day. Is that correct? Do you have this? Do you remember that?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Elo, it is obviously, and it's in January. The only difference is that it's not your first free fall jumps. It is already the second training camp, and you're on the top left there with Niklas, right?
Yes. Yep. Outside front. And yeah, so this is probably, if this is the first jump back, this is jump number 63 for me back on the team.
Mm-hmm. And this series of jumps that I picked for that is actually showing the whole thing with several blocks and stuff, and then at the end there's a random sequence. So if you compare this now to when you came back in December to outdoor competition, this feels already very comfortable for you.
Oh, it was a lot more comfortable. Yeah, we really saw what Nick and I had to work on as a piece and what we needed to work on all together as a team. So we had some specific learning objectives. In this camp too, the first several jumps, we had to address some issues in our exit frame. We didn't have the timing down that we needed, the timing and the presentation between everyone. So there was a learning curve there, and then it seems like now we're doing a much better job altogether at it. We're also trying some alternate exits and playing around with those, and those are going really well for the most part. I think the challenge is going to be, whether that will translate for us to the platform in Russia for the World Championships, which is going to be the turbo lead, I believe, unless I'm mistaken.
Yeah, as far as I know, they will use the LEDs again for the exits, and we have some very special experiences. Your team, when you were with the Golden Knights, still I was in Prostějov, right?
Yeah, we did.
The LED can do some difficult, damaging stuff to you. Can you tell us that story actually from?
Sure can. Yeah, that was it was kind of a bad memory, and those stand out for me for sure. It's the really good ones and the really bad ones. The rest kind of blend together, but yeah. So that one, it was both good and bad. But I think it was negative for us in the respect that we weren't able to fulfill our potential, and that had some to do with our exit, or a lot to do with the exit. We had, I think there was some AstroTurf or something like that up on the one of the wheel wells, and our point, Justin Blewett at the time, he slipped, it like peeled off part of it, and he slipped, and we had a funnel right out the door, which we hadn't had in several hundreds of jumps. Yeah. And yeah, so by the time we get back together, I think we ended up scoring a 28 on it, but I think we could have gotten a lot more, and there was some buildup for it. If I remember, you were asking us beforehand if you thought, or if we thought it was going to be a world championship round, and we did.
Yeah. I think it was a world record potential, at least. That the potential for a world record.
Yeah.
And that was the same jump plane that we will have in Tanai this year.
Right. And obviously, we don't get to train that platform as much as we'd like to prepare for World Championships, but it does have some differences. But at the end of the day, it's not all that different. I think it's it's narrower and it's a bit taller than what we normally see on a Twin Otter.
Yeah, and you're basically, I think, the only person who knows the differences, but you will possibly get a few training jumps once you're in Tanai. Are you going earlier if everything goes after a plan?
We are. I think we haven't talked about it lately, but I think our original plan was to get a solid week, if not two, over there to be able to train off of the let.
Yeah, how did we get to that exit? Yeah, you made some adjustments or needed XP8, needed a little bit work on the exits or smoothen them out a bit, you said earlier.
Well, we did. And I don't know if I'd say it was XP8 or me coming back, because they seemed to, from what they were telling me, is in a lot of ways the exit was going pretty smooth. But it's just, it shows that whenever you change, a piece or change somebody out in that dynamic, things are going to change a little bit. We're going to have to adapt. But we found some fixes, and part of it was some improvements that I needed to make as far as my hip presentation out the door. We just had the way that we're having the exit come off. Now we're getting out more away from the aircraft, which requires me to do something slightly different than I was doing with the Knights, where our exit kind of dropped off a little more. And you can see there, like my timing there was just a little bit late. So, the exit had a little bit of a whip to it. But,
yeah, it's kind of, I mean, it's hard to imagine that even the 8-way exits, where you have to get 8 people or actually 9 people out the door with the perfect timing. And if the timing isn't, it seems to be so easy to say that 8-way exits are so much easier than 4-way, because it's always the same. It would be the same as if you always pull the bow in 4-way. So it's, basically the same exit formation. But I guess the difficulty is, or the difference is, you have 9 people and not only 4 people or 5 people.
right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, everybody's got to be on their exact timing for it to come off, and for the team to be able to efficiently transition to the first point.
Okay, so I'm going to turn this now off again here and see if I can go or find the next one here without messing up too much here again. Let's see. Oh, yeah. We don't want this. So we're going to find now the other video here. I'm going to play it again on, and that is, this time it will be the last day of the training camp, and there we will oh, that music, that will then show us a very special jump that you selected, I guess, which is a very fast round, and we will see that at the end. I think, was it the last jump of the camp, actually, the fast, I think it was F41 or 14F or something in that order.
I don't think it was the last jump that we did, but it was during the last day.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's interesting anyway, Matt. For me, like, it looked like the pace on the last, I mean, towards the end of the training can obviously is still faster than on compared to the first day. I don't know if I have that, if I see that correctly, or if there seems to be more energy and more pace involved on the.
There's definitely more energy in a lot of ways. We're coming together really well, but you can see, I think, this jump in particular and a few others on that last day, that everyone was pretty tired. It was day 7, and we just weren't as sharp and as crisp. You can see that jump was pretty rough there, but we weren't as sharp and as crisp as we were on, say, day 3 or day 4. I think we were really starting to hit our stride there. And even day 5, yeah. But after that, things we had a couple rough days after that.
Except for Michelle, she is always, every single time she is smiling, so she seems to be full of energy and happiness. I mean, Elliot gets the smile when she's climbing out every single time. I just wanted to show that once. I'm catching here a nice one actually on one of the jumps. So just kidding.
Yeah, she's got a positive mindset all the time, and yeah, she's always smiling.
Mm-hmm. So you were tired, huh? Was your poor body tired too, or was it just a general fatigue like everybody was? Um,
I think it was fatigue and the pain. You know, I think the all of us have some. You know, are dealing with some pain, and a lot of us aren't spring chickens. You know, you've got myself, BK, Kirk, um, Nick. You know, we've all got a couple years on us, so you know, everybody's got their aches and pains for sure. But so you know, definitely not you know, diminishing their experience there at all. But you know, yeah, it's with the hip and getting used to it, and you know, dealing with that pain. It's been a challenge, but you know, teammates have been great, and they're, you know, very understanding about me getting back into it. We had to stop a couple days over both camps a bit early for me, you know, just because I was in a lot of pain, and that's it's not something that's easy for me to do or admit. But the culture on the team is that, you know, they want me to be healthy, and they want me to be able to carry on without any big interruptions. So they're willing to do whatever it takes to support me in that.
mhm. So looking back now, once again, I mean, earlier I was more thinking about, or we were talking about the physical difficulties to come back. You didn't expect this, and so forth. Now, in general, um, you were in the tunnel before, and it seemed like you fit so easily into the tunnel, and it looked like a piece of cake. How come back? If you're looking back now in hindsight, was it actually more difficult and more challenging than you thought it would be?
The tunnel itself wasn't, you know, I had a lot easier time with the tunnel, and if we did, you know, a couple full days in a row, then, you know, I'd feel it a little bit, but not nearly as bad as the jumping. So from that respect, yeah, it was really surprising. You know, like I said earlier, I thought I was just going to be able to, you know, come right back into it with no issues.
Mhm. So the tunnel has actually, well, you know, I don't want to say any, you know, disadvantages or so, but maybe you could even call it like that, because it may give you or somebody, people, the impression that it is actually much easier to transition from indoor to outdoor than it is.
Possibly, yeah. I do think there's a lot more impact associated with jumping. You know, you've got the exit, the opening shock, and um, you know, sometimes you get the landings, the pounding of a landing if you've got to, you know, run out the landing. And I think over the course of a day, you know, over the course of, you know, any stretch of time, it's that's going to add up. It's possibly a little faster than the tunnel will.
Does it make you feel like you are beginning? I mean, you can sympathize, empathize with the people who decide to be only indoor teams.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's, you know, I don't try not to judge or fault anybody if they choose to do that. Personally, I think, you know, people that only plan to do tunnel are missing a huge aspect of the sport. You know, it just adds another element to it when you're actually in free fall. And, you know, therein lies another challenge, right? Is to try to get the pace of free fall to that in the tunnel, which is for 8-way anyway, often a lot faster. For 4-way now, we're definitely seeing where that gap is starting to close more and more.
Yeah, yeah, and then who would want to miss this part here? You know, I mean, it's so beautiful, you know, in the 8-way fall, no matter what it is, but you cannot get this in the tunnel. There's no way. This part here, you know, those 5 seconds, they're so unique.
Yeah, yeah, and it does. You know, it adds um, a lot more layers of emotion. I think, you know, when you're out there from, you know, either the jitters of round one or the elation of making that round 10, and, you know, knowing that you're ahead by a certain number of points. You know, it's um, you know, when you're tracking off from a really good jump or from a world championship or a world record round, you know, it's a really good feeling tracking off, and
Mhm.
knowing you've done, you know, you and your team have really come together and pulled it off.
So now let's take a look at, this is the round with her I was talking about earlier. And of course, you know it, you have had your stopwatch for, comment this. This is your, one of the, I mean, it's the last training day, and it's of course a hand-picked sequence. And what did you score there? 150 points, or what was it?
Not quite 150. I think we did 42 or 43 and got a couple busts on it. So we really had, you know, you're commenting on our team energy earlier. We definitely got more of that in this jump. Things are a little rough. We're not as precise and as smooth yet. We've got the speed and the go for it, but we need to polish that some. So we had some of those issues. You know, things were a little loud, but overall, I was really pleased with this score. Even though things aren't perfect, you can see that nothing's really slowing the train down or stopping it. You've got people, you know, solving problems in real time and still maintaining the necessary communication that we need.
Yeah, 41, huh? What is the current, what is the current world record? Well, let's
I believe it's 33.
Fill this out. What is the current standing? You know what? Let me quickly close this in case I don't want this to come back here. So I want to stop that. And now we're going back to, so now we can finish peacefully our final stretch here of the NSL live talk. Now I just asked, where did we just interrupt? It was the end of the training camp, the handpicked round, and what is the standing world record? That's what I wanted to ask.
It's 33, I believe.
33. So the pace is, well, we don't always get a round like that. So you know the round.
Right.
Is that your world record? I guess, right? What's the sequence?
It is. That's a good question. I don't remember exactly what it was.
I'm gonna look it up. I'm sure I can find it somewhere. Do you remember where it was scored?
Yes, it was 2015 over Skydive Dubai for the World Air Games.
Oh, I see. So I may not even have that. I may have the score, but not necessarily the video of that. You probably have the video.
I do. Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Well, it would be interesting, you know, if you can get me, if I can, the URL where I can find it later at some point, you know, then I would love to throw it in.
Sure.
World Air Games 2015. Ah, I'm not aware of that. So we're gonna research that.
All right.
So Matt, final topic, and then I'll let you go. And now Jennifer is home, and she is probably reporting from Golden Knights forward training or 8-way training.
Yep, it's you know, I always ask her how the day went, and she's been you know, super happy lately. That you know, you could probably ask her some questions about it at some point, but she you know, they selected a couple of new members to the team, and they've got some fresh blood in there and some really solid potential, and things are starting to come together for them really since they made those selections. But yeah, she's in it every day, so I'm sure if you wanted to talk to her at a different time, she could tell you all those details.
I would love to. And Nick is coming back on the weekend too to work with them again, right?
Yeah, he's actually there right now working with them. So he's been coaching over the last week.
Okay, so what I wanted to ask you, Matt, is the previous 4 gold medals you won with the Golden Knights. Now you want to win the next one with Airspeed XP8. Is Airspeed XP8 yet at the Golden Knights level where you win the gold medals guaranteed pretty much? You know, when we go back to PCF in 2014, you know, with that big trouble there out the door, you still won by, I don't know, 20 points probably or something at least. You won without any troubles in 2016, without even any troubles at all in 2018. This time the competition is a little bit tougher. but the Golden Knights by then, when you were with the Golden Knights, they didn't orient them, yourselves with other teams. So you wanted, the excellent performance no matter what anyway. So now you can directly compare XP8 Golden Knights, and I'm going to challenge you with that question anyway. I know it's kind of a tough question because but I know you are not shying away from answering tough questions. So how does it look at this point in time? Do you see that you're heading towards Golden Knights quality level?
Yeah, definitely. It's yeah, back when we were the Golden Knights, we never approached it with the mentality that it was guaranteed, and we're definitely not doing that this year either, because there are other great teams out there like the French and the Russians that'll be right there with us as far as my expectations go. As far as our readiness, I believe we're ready now, and we're going to be even more ready at the end of the year. The difference is on this team compared to the Golden Knights is that we were together for a very long period, the bulk of the team. So the things that we're working out now on the team, we weren't really presented with, in the later years of that particular team of the Golden Knights. And so even though we have a lot of experience on this team, we all come from, different backgrounds and different schools of thought. The airspeed 8-way in the 90s and 2000s, their approach to 8-way was slightly different than ours on the Golden Knights. So we all bring something a little different, but I think our biggest challenge now, and one that we're getting a lot better at, is all coming together and bringing those different methodologies and finding a system that works for us to be able to train in an efficient way, taking into consideration all of those varying schools of thought. But yeah, we're definitely ready, and I can't wait to see where we're going to be at the end of the year when August comes, and looking forward to seeing how the French and the Russians are going to be as well, and Qatar.
Mm-hmm. That's a very interesting angle, Matt. I'm going to take a closer look at that too. How many different angles actually coming into your game plan there. That's very interesting, and I'm sure it's not that easy to find a new way out of all those different inputs. Finding the perfect system for this lineup. Interesting.
Yeah, well, it's definitely been. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just saying it's definitely been a process, but it's been one that's rewarding the further that we get into the project.
Good. And now that your body is also adapting to all this, you will enjoy it probably even more now.
Yeah, I hope so.
In the coming, wow, what a trip for you, Matt. What a trip.
Yeah.
Well, we have a World Championship this year, as it looks, will be confirmed on the coming weekend. Definitely, the final word. And then we are hoping that the virus will leave us alone, vaccinations coming, all that kind of stuff. And so we will see at least one World Championship this year. And it would be fantastic to see all the teams that you mentioned, France, Russia, XP8, maybe even the Falcons, the Qatar team, fighting it out over 10.
Yeah, that'd be great.
First, we have a few more NSL Cloud Mondials for where we can use the videos. And so everybody will get an idea on at least a little bit judging and a little bit evaluation.
Yeah,
Matt,
sure.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Chris.
Interesting as always. Say hello to Jennifer. Enjoy the evening. And now at the very last second, we lost you here. But that is a perfect timing because we are done here anyway. I don't know if you can still see me, but I say...
Will.
Oh, no, now you hear me. Okay. All right, Matt. Thank you very much again. I see you soon. Good luck, good health, and talk to you soon.